Alright, welcome to the reviews. So, as I stated before of how it was going to work, there's going to be the class. Classes each have their own video. Dual class cards has its own video. And neutral cards have their own video. And I will be giving my ratings from basically 1 to 10 on how good they are. I'll probably talk a bit about each of the cards, talking about what kind of decks they would fit in or would not really even do anything. So first, this video is about the Shaman cards, as you obviously saw in the title. So let's jump right into it. So we have the Diligent Notetaker, a 2-cost, 2/3 spell burst. Return the spell to your hand. So you get one spell when this guy's on the board. You play a spell, and it's that card will go back to your hand. You only get it once. It could be otherwise amazing value, which is what I hoped for when I first originally saw this card, but that is not the case. Still decent value. A bit of the, like, you see a 2-cost 2/3, that's pretty normal, you see now. But I've always heard people saying it's a bit understated for a 2-cost, but there's always the text that goes along with it. So it always seems pretty normal, because there always seems to be text that goes with 2-cost cards. So, I do think it's relatively fine. I don't think it's really going to see too much play in any kind of deck. It doesn't really help with any kind of combo. It really would only go with Control Shaman, which Control Shaman I don't think is really a thing right now. I mean, it could kind of be, but probably not. Like, they got some more tools in this expansion for it, but I still don't know if it's enough. I mean, it could be. The quest always went along with the with Control Shaman as well, so maybe it will see some play. I will actually give it 4 stars out of 10, because I don't see it being terribly useful, but if Control Shaman becomes a thing, then it will probably see play. Totem Goliath, 5-cost, 4/5 totem for Shaman. Death Rattle, summon all 4 basic totems. Overload 2. I still do think this is a little bit on the expensive side. But you still get it. Like, the stats are fine for kind of when you're playing it anyway. And plus, even when it does die, you get a bunch of stuff on there. But then you also have to play a lot more cautiously with how much stuff you're putting out there, because if you got too much stuff out there and this dies, you don't get the full effect. So, and hopefully you want this to die on probably your turn, because then when it dies, you can do like a bunch of totem buffs and benefits with all those totems out there. I could see it being kind of useful, like a totem deck maybe. So I'm gonna go with like 5 stars out of 10. Molten Blast, deal 2 damage, summon that many 1/1 elementals for 3. I honestly, the more I'm like, oh, spell damage could make it pretty good. I just don't really think it will be that good for Shaman. I really don't. Even though they like their elementals. They like their elementals and they like their totems. I just don't see it. They used to like their Murlocs. They don't like their Murlocs anymore, apparently. It was like a trend. The Murloc trend. It's just, it's too weak, I think. Just because you can buff it with spell damage, that's not really what we want to base it off of. We still want to base it off of the base value. So you're dealing 2 damage, you're summoning 2 1/1 elementals, which is fine. It's maybe a little above average, but it just doesn't sit well with... Like, honestly, I'd rather play like a Frostbolt. Frostbolt's cheaper and does more damage. Like, I want the damage to kill someone. Dealing 2 damage isn't much. It's decent early game. But just, I don't know. I don't like it. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10 for this one as well. The Rune Dagger, 2 cost, 1/3 weapon. After your hero attacks, gains spell damage +1 this turn. Weird. That's the first thing that comes to mind on this weapon. It's a weak weapon, first off. Only costs 2 for the weak weapon. And you do get spell damage out of it if you attack on that turn. But then you're not attacking probably as often with the weapon as you like. Like, if you see an opportunity where you can kill something with your weapon, like something's got 1 health left, I'd like to kill that. And now that spell damage may have been wasted because you wanted to kill it with your weapon. So it's a weird, like, do I attack, do I not attack? I don't know. Do I attack face just so I can get spell damage? And it doesn't sit right. It doesn't make sense for a weapon to have that kind of effect. It's like, man, it's just weird. I don't even know how to put it. It's just weird. I don't like it. I don't think anyone else really likes it. I don't see it being useful. Weapons weak. I'm gonna say 3. 3 out of 10. Maybe 2. It's not great. I think I'm gonna go with 3. 3 out of 10. It's not good. I don't see it working. Tidal Wave. 8 cost Shaman spell with lifesteal and deal 3 damage to all minions. So this is another tool that Control Shaman got. It can be a big heal. Like, it can be a gigantic heal, and it would be great. Especially, it deals damage to your minions as well. So most likely, you're gonna want to use it where it's like, oh man, he's got control of so much of the board. I guess I'll use Tidal Wave to change the tide. I'm sorry, not sorry for that pun. I mean, it seems fine. It would be used in a control deck if a control deck becomes a thing. And if control deck doesn't become a thing, I don't think it will see play. But overall, the card, I think, is relatively fine. So I'm going to put it at a 6 out of 10. Instructor Fireheart. 3 cost, 3/3 legendary for Shaman. Battlecry, discover a spell that costs 1 or more. If you play it this turn, repeat this effect. So basically the point of this card is to play her, and then play as many spells as you can in that turn, having it be the one that you discovered. If you play that exact spell on the same turn, you get to discover another spell. So basically, this is a card that you could use if you're behind, maybe get control back on the board. Once again, I think could be a good tool for Control Shaman, if it becomes a thing. Combo, probably not. Totem Shaman, no. Or probably just Control. Maybe a mid-range? I don't think mid-range Shaman is really a thing, but could be. I don't know. Overall, I honestly do really like the card. It may not see play, but it is still it's a pretty dang strong card. It may have come out in the wrong set, for example. It might see more play in a future set, but overall, I think the card is just relatively pretty strong. So I'm going to rate it based on, that's how I normally rated is based on how strong the card actually is. Not technically talking this specific meta, but just how strong the card is in general. And I think the card is quite strong in general. So I'm going to give it a 8 out of 10. Even though it probably won't see play in this current expansion. That is going to be it for this video. All the class ones are going to be pretty short because there's not that many, because so many of them are replaced with the dual class stuff. So the dual class cards will probably be the second longest, and then neutral cards will probably be the longest. So next time, we will be talking about the Paladin and his new cards.